Today, I'm excited to introduce three of the greatest minds within the circular economy space, here to provide you with a behind-the-scenes look from a materials, community, and business and policy perspective on what circular economy looks like in 2020. สวัสดีค่ะฉันชื่อลีลี่ขอบคุณมากค่ะที่มาร่วมฟังค่ะในวันนี้นะคะ We're going to be discussing solutions, their responses and the adjustments they've had to make as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, and how we can move forward into the future together. Allow me to introduce our esteemed panelists. First, Dr. Jenna Jambak, an environmental engineering professor from the University of Georgia and a National Geographic Society Fellow. Arthur Huang, founder and CEO of MiniWiz, a technology firm that designs out waste, and a National Geographic Emerging Explorer. And Gerald Neighbor, Program Manager of the New Plastics Economy Global Commitment at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us from all your different time zones.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We just passed 5 a.m. Yep, I'm on the East Coast, same time zone as New York.
Right now it's 6 o'clock in Taiwan.
My day has just started. It's 10 a.m. here.
We're literally all calling in from different zones of the world and really taking this concept of tomorrow together seriously.
If we, again, redesign, rethink our system in how we produce cars, houses, even our burgers and our noodles, we unlock a huge opportunity for China, for instance. We've seen that a circular economy can create up to $10 trillion US dollars, or 16% of China's GDP by 2040. If you look at the global emissions, about 55% comes from the generation of energy, and 45% comes from how we produce and use our products. So that's where a circular economy comes in as a solution to tackle that challenge as well. If we redesign this idea, and so we think the circular economy is a better solution. It's a better idea to build a system that can work because it is regenerative and restorative by design.
How we live feeds into this, not only vision, but pathway and realization of the circular economy, and understanding that we play in our day-to-day lives a huge part in contributing to it in not only waste and energy, but also solutions and resilience. And as we think about visions for the future, a lot of people have talked about that this particular time has allowed us to slow down, using Jenna's words, and do things and think about things we hadn't had a chance to do before. And, to Arthur's point about having to adjust to the things you didn't have before, I'm wondering if you can touch a little bit on this vision for a new plastic circular economy that you just published in your paper.
And maybe just also to respond to Jenna's examples. I mean, also we have a small family here as well. Also, we'd never had a garden, and now we had our stab at trying to grow all kinds of fruits and veg, and it was an interesting realization how dependent you are on the steady supply of solid, healthy vegetables. Trying to copy that in your own little garden is quite difficult, but it was good moments also. Very important also that once at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, when we saw, of course, the pandemic happening, and we saw the impact of it having, how everyday life came to a standstill, and all the systems that we have, all the infrastructure basically couldn't be operated. Similar to what Arthur was saying, people could not go out there and do their jobs. It was about picking waste, or it came to a standstill. So we also tried to see, what's the impact of this vision for a circular economy? And we realized quite quickly that, similar to what other organizations have called out for, we should not fall in the trap for when we focus to solve this one crisis, to forget about the other big crises that we have just around the corner, so to speak. So the climate change, the pollution is still out there. They are still committed to a circular economy. In fact, they've said it's probably even more relevant than ever. We can change overnight, or quite radically if we want to, if we see the need. So that was a proof point to say that if we also want to build a system for the longer term, then we can do that.
This is actually our mask. Okay, this is our mask. I just shredded it. Okay, and then just imagine if I make a cup today with this mask in 3 minutes. First of all, I demonstrate to all the people who donated a mask that I can recycle your mask with no transportation on site, and then I can turn that into a cup. Okay, do you think consumer is willing to use that cup to fill their coffee or drink their water from? You know, this is a rhetorical question. Obviously, I welcome everyone to add in anything. Of course, people are concerned. You know, that's why single use just shoot off the chart. It's because people are concerned of safety. Safety comes first. Convenience comes also very much in the front. Okay, so safety and convenience, that's what single-use plastic economy is offering us for the last 40, 50 years. So I don't think people are willing to drink from this cup. I really don't. Okay, but are you willing to turn this into a flower pot? Can we do agricultural packaging material or vertical garden wall that use the mask to hold a seed to grow into a vertical farm? Okay, I think that is a better way of transitioning by jumping field.
If I can react to that quickly, just very quickly, we've spent some time working with hotels who have also made commitments on working on plastic, and you know they had in the pandemic their operations were shut down, so they'd like to bring them back into operations, and they had a very strong reflex to your point, Arthur, to go for single-use plastic packaging because they immediately felt that was more safe and more healthy. But actually, looking into it and following the WHO guidelines, reusable formats can be much more safer if you create an environment where they're safely collected within the operations, cleaned, and then retail. You have much more control over it than actually a single-use packaging that comes outside of your operations. You don't even know where it came from, how it was used. So actually, that's a perception as well. To your point, Arthur, I think we can learn from that and really improve our perspective on that.
What solutions are you and your team currently working on, and is there kind of a tie-in here between reusable, renewable, virtual within the circular space in a COVID time?
Yeah. I want to react to a couple things that both Gerald and Arthur have said, which ties in here as well. And you know, my work was, as I said, 50 or 60% sort of around the world. Besides being a National Geographic Fellow, I was also working with the State Department in their International Informational Speakers Program. And our new data collection protocol called the Circularity Assessment Protocol is what we used on Sea to Source, but that really was motivated by all of my travels around and interacting with governments and especially municipalities who would say, gosh, now I know about this issue. Thanks, Jenna, for coming, but what do we do? And I would really go back to them and say, look, you are the expert of your community, your context, but let's look around and collect data, basically, is what I was starting to do. And then we turn this into an actual data collection protocol. We're just starting off with on Sea to Source and had expanded to 10 countries and 26 cities as COVID hit. What do, right? So we have had to adjust quickly. I think, as Gerald was saying, as our systems do, when you have these constraints, you have to adjust. And so we've been able to partner with local groups, sometimes universities, sometimes NGOs, and train them through virtual internet, Zoom, and different how to collect this data in their community, so they not only have more ownership over the whole system, but we've been able to sort of scale and expand CAP probably faster than we would have in other cases.
fundamentally, we're all a part of this massive system as we try and move forward and adjust into our new future. So this perspective that each one of you brings is very critical to kind of tie in the pieces of what the circular economy is. I feel like that small contribution piece is just so critical to not only getting everybody on board with the circular economy, but giving everyone that sense of dignity that Jen is talking about, that you can contribute to something that is worthwhile in your lifetime.
I just want to add that everything is reusable. Nothing is single use. I find it very strange that we are actually using a lot of carbon resources to make more and more reusable bags, when in fact these plastic bags are perfectly reusable and they pack perfectly in my pocket. That's what I use every day. Yeah. So they are all reusable. There's no such thing as single use. So if you want to reduce single use, just don't think of it as a single use.
Because communities came together and were working to separate their waste, separate, the healthcare hazardous waste that's at home. And that practice has now become sort of normalized. There was a challenge with getting communities to do that separation, but when they were thinking about protecting the people, collecting and working with the waste, they were more willing to do that. And now we think that might be a change into the future. So a new normal, so to speak, where people are more willing to separate their waste, which we know in India will go a long way, just even a wet and dry separation. And this is another thing I love about Taiwan and the waste and the materials management system there. It's very community oriented. People bring out their recycling and their waste, and everybody does that when, the trucks come through playing the music. I think we all, and even, this can happen now still, we all crave that community. And I think Arthur's decentralized waste is the way we need to go. That's where you can be resilient, you can adapt. I think we're absolutely ready and craving this kind of system.
And we can implement systems, we can do it in such a way that we stay on the same cost path with the same convenience, we have the same customer experience, if not better.
On the front line, what I see is that there's not enough cool people to create a pop culture, to a real culture, like where people are aspiring to be like this.
So when we're thinking about how do we make circular economy cool, and I think relatable to your point, Arthur, and how do we really bring it back to the community and to our lives to move it from an abstract concept, something that's really personal to all of us, we have to consider ourselves all on this large journey, that we have a place we start and a place we want to go to. And the only thing that's keeping us away from getting there is ourselves. And the thing that's allowing us to get there is ourselves as well. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you. And we look forward to moving together to tomorrow and addressing the circular economy as one global society and team.